Welcome back to the channel. Right, different type of video today. So, over the last, particularly this last 3 months or so, I've been mentioning on some of the models that I've done, obviously the bits that I like, bits I don't like, that type of thing. But what I've been doing, I've been saying how I would change them. Now, I've had a bit of feedback from you guys and it's been pretty positive. And a couple of weeks ago, I did the Kazi Jagdpanzer 4, which I really liked the build process. In fact, the instructions were great, everything about it was fantastic, except the finished model. And I went through fairly, I think, comprehensively what I would do with it. It looked far too much like a Stug. It was supposed to look, it's based on the Panzer 4, it's supposed to look a little bit more like that at the front, but it really wasn't right at all. So some of the feedback that I got after that video was basically, we'd really like to see that sort of video. So that's what I'm doing today. So basically what I've done is I have taken that model, the Panzer 4, well, sorry, the Jagdpanzer 4, and I have tried to put things right with it. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you some pics over some music with the current model, the old model and the original vehicles from different, trying to get the same angles on all of it, and then we'll come back and I'll explain exactly what I did with this model. So let's crack on and build. Welcome back. Right, so if I talk you very quickly through what I have done. Now, the only thing that I really sort of put on myself was that the vast majority of bricks that I use have to come from the original model, because while I have access to probably more spares than most people, it's going to be then difficult for me to say, oh yes, I've used this particular brick that most people have probably never seen before, or something like that. So to give everyone a fighting chance and to make it sort of fair, that's what I decided to do. And I would say that 85 to 90% of the bricks that I've used in this have come from the original model, and a lot of the bricks that haven't come from the model could come from anywhere, and I will explain that bit in a minute. So what I whinged about in the original review of the video was that essentially it was far too Stug 3 like, and there isn't really a relationship between the Stug 3 and the Jagdpanzer 4. So the big problem I had with it was that the fighting compartment was a bit too large, a bit too high, too back on the body. The whole engine plate radiator thing was just a bit weird. The back was too truncated, it was sort of back in the wheels overhung the back of the model. The upper glacis was too big, the whole of the front deck there was just far too much of it. So that was basically what I whinged about. So as you can see, what I've done is essentially I've ripped the fighting compartment off. I've made it a brick or two shallower. I really can't remember off the top of my head, but it is definitely shallower than it was. Brought that right forward, as you can see, because this obviously is based on the Panzer IV, tried to make it look a little bit more Panzer IV-like at the front, which is fine, but I will come back to why I'm not particularly happy with that. And then on the back, or sorry, on the top, let me just take this off a second, so you can get a slightly better view of it. On the top, on the original thing, the angle is, it's a little tricky, the angle. Some of the photographs make it appear fairly flat, with just a very shallow drop. Some of the photographs of the original make it look as if that drop is a little bit more, but because of the bricks that I was using, I've probably accentuated it a bit too much. But obviously that plate here was here, right at the very front, so that was just too good to miss, not using that. And obviously on the sides would have been lovely to have angled that all the way down on both sides, but I just didn't have the bricks for it. The two hinges that I've used in there, obviously they were spares from something else, and as you can appreciate, I mean, one's green and one's black. Now, most of the other bricks that I used from other sources, to be honest with you, were just support bricks. So when I ripped off the fighting compartment, well, you've got to support it somehow. So basically what I was doing was pillars of bricks, so sort of 4x2 actual bricks themselves, 3 of them on each other. Was in a couple of places, three different places that I've got support pillars in there. That was the vast majority of where the extra bricks came from. But one of the limiting factors I found with this was particularly the flat plates, these smooth type of plates. Just didn't have very many of them at all. So you have to get a little bit creative somehow, somewhere, and I don't think this is too bad. It's not perfect by any means. So what would I have liked to have done with this that I wasn't able to? Well, it's pretty much around this front and the front of the fighting compartment. This should be angled in on the sides a lot more and go pretty much the whole length from the fighting compartment to the very back of the vehicle. So that would have been nice, but I didn't have enough hinges, and I just really didn't have enough of the right type of bricks to do that with anyway. The other thing that I would have liked to have done with it is around the front of the fighting compartment. This is a little blocky. It's it's in keeping with the Panzer IV, and to a degree the Stug. However, this was angled from the deck up to the roof of the vehicle, so I would change that. But you only have so many bricks that you can work with at any one time, and this was the best I could do with what I had to play with. But I'm quite happy with this. I think it's, without wanting to blow my own trumpet too much, I think it's a vast improvement on the original model. I'm no expert on these, doing this sort of thing. I'm not a mock maker or anything like that. There are some fantastic mocks out there, and if you didn't want to go to all the faff of doing this, I found one by a company called Omaha Bricks, which is an American company. Now they sell a PDF of a very good looking Jagdpanzer IV, and that was $7.27. I say that's just the PDF. You've then got to buy the bricks yourself, but it does give you 2 colour schemes, one a camo scheme and one similar to this, it's a dark grey. So that's not too bad for the instructions. It's 500 and something odd pieces, I think it is. 646, and it's in 1/35th scale. And yeah, it looks pretty good. Now the other option, you've got Kobe did do a Jagdpanzer 4. It is not current model, although you can still get it if you trudge around the internet a little bit. Now, I found it on a few of them on eBay. However, they are not cheap at all. The cheapest I found was about £136, and most of them were closer to the £150 mark. So translate that into whatever currency you particularly use. It's not cheap at all. So there is definitely room, I feel, for changing some of these models, getting some of these models and then adapting them yourself to get them looking about right. Now, as I say, I'm no expert at this, I'm no mock builder or anything like that. So, but I'm fairly happy with the way this has turned out. It took a streaming session, which is about 2 hours, plus about another hour, because I kept looking at it and thinking, oh, I could change this, I could change that, and eventually I did go and do it. And but if I can do it, anyone can do it. So don't be afraid. Have a crack yourself. So there we go. That's today's video. Hopefully you've liked it. And if you have, please like and subscribe to the channel. And I will catch you again. You take care. Bye bye.